The trailer for the new 3-part documentary series about the Karen Read case and Officer John O'Keefe unaliving investigation is set to air later next month, just weeks before the upcoming trial date on April 1st. Viewers such as myself were shocked to see some never-before-seen body cam footage of Karen Read's second arrest, featuring Yuri Bukwacki's own version of the Canton Salute. I don't know about you, but I was not prepared to see that on my timeline this morning. Hello, 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 and welcome back, roommates, to Alexasrewm, where we are not lawyers, we are not medical professionals, and we are not law enforcement. We are just people who have opinions about all things going on in the true crime community. I mean, really, in the Karen Read case, including this alleged body cam footage that is set to appear in this upcoming 3-part docuseries about the Karen Read case and Officer John O'Keefe unaliving investigation. Now, I mean, obviously, naturally, one's eyes tend to get drawn to this area over here. I mean, I didn't know there was a uniform for the MSP, but they all seem to shop at the same tight-fitted pants store. And what's even more disturbing is the fact that the choice of color in pants is very close to that of one Yuri Bukwacki's skin tone. I don't want to linger too long on that one, but I was surprised to see that there's body cam footage, right? Because we went through this whole first trial. We saw the dash cam footage, right? Then, of course, there was that body cam footage of her asking, you know, what are we all in the same joke? That was played in court as well, too. But no one has ever seen this. And it's interesting because looking at the date, this is from her June arrest, June 9th, 2022. And this isn't the only clip either that they show. They actually show a couple others. So I want to get into this exactly and why hasn't this been revealed before? I'm assuming because it hasn't been handed over to the defense until as of recently. This is a spliced up clip from the trailer by Boston Mike on Twitter. So thank you so much for sharing. And it's just kind of like a slow down version. If I can just take a moment to redirect your attention to the egghead shaped man over here, Bobby from King of the Hill, and away from the cheesy banana stuffed in Yuri Bukwacki's flesh colored pants, you'll recognize that this is who other than Chip Proctor, lead investigator, and there is another officer, actually 4, including the one that this body cam footage is from. So 4 guys. I mean, this is also like overkill, right? Like you need 4 Massachusetts state police officers to arrest a skinny little nothing like Karen Read. Like, look how tiny she is. You need 4 of you eggheads rolling up on this poor woman. And then we have this shot, so I'm assuming, yeah, of her in the cell as well, too. And then there is another clip as well, not in this video. But if you notice, and again, I'm sorry that I keep freezing on this particular still, but if you notice at the top right, the date reads June 9th, 2022. So this is the second time she was arrested, not the first time, if her garb didn't give it away. So thanks, Boston Mike, despite burning a permanent image in my brain of Yuri Bukwacki's fake bulge. So back in 2021, December 2021, it was mandated all state troopers in Massachusetts had been given body cameras after overtime scan. Massachusetts State Police announced Thursday that all of its troopers have been assigned body cameras. All of them. All of its troopers. That would include our boy Chip Proctor, Yuri Bukwacki, and friends. A reform that was ordered in 2018 after the agency was rocked by an overtime scandal. All 2,200 of the agency's sworn personnel now have body cameras and training on how to use them, police officials said. The agency also has also installed cameras in 800 cruisers with 200 still waiting cameras. Now, what's interesting and what I didn't see in the trailer was whether or not there was body cam footage of Chip Proctor arriving at Karen Reed's parents' house when he seized her car. That would certainly be an important piece of evidence, because that would certainly show the appearance of what the condition of the taillight was in upon arrival. Now, I'm also curious, too, if that Dighton cop, Nicholas Barros, had body cam footage. Body cam footage of Chip Proctor arriving at the Sally Port, in the Sally Port, examining the evidence. I mean, there's so many opportunities for that body cam footage to have been present and for it to have been used. And I'm wondering how much more has revealed itself or has been produced, handed over to the defense, which is going to make for an extra spicy trial too, because we didn't get any of that. We didn't get to see anything, which just seems so bizarre because it's 2025 now, right? So Colonel Christopher Mason, superintendent of the Massachusetts State Police, said the cameras will document troopers' interactions with suspects, victims, and the public. This is essential to capturing evidence for criminal cases, as well as memorializing the nature of interactions between troopers and the public, Mason said in a statement. I wonder what he would have to say of that now. Body cam video also provides a valuable training tool for recruits and existing officers. So that also makes me wonder, was there any body cam footage during the, let's call it what it is, the assault, the attack of Trooper Enrique Delgado Garcia? I would love to know. If there, I mean, it seems like training tool for recruits. You would think that might be part of the training exercises. The cameras were part of a series of reforms announced in 2018 by Republican Governor Charlie Baker and police leaders. The reforms also included disbanding Troop E, which patrolled a stretch of the Massachusetts Turnpike from Boston to the New York state border. The changes were ordered after some troopers assigned to Troop E were found to have taken thousands of hours in overtime pay for shifts they did not actually work. I wonder who else is connected to that from this case, because it wouldn't at all surprise me considering the big fat paydays some of them were getting, right? Dozens of troopers were fired or disciplined over the overtime scandal, and some have faced criminal charges. This is the Law Enforcement Body Camera Task Force for the Massachusetts State Police, right? So I will link this in my show notes. You can go read it in full. It's 26 pages. But metadata, there's that buzzword again that we keep hearing about, right? Information about the event category, camera wearer. So, I mean, I'm assuming there would be some sort of metadata as to whether or not the body cam footage was altered in any way or manipulated potentially. At the beginning of each shift. Okay, so recommended regulation governing use of body-worn cameras. Operation standards. At the beginning of each shift, the body-worn camera user shall ensure that the issued equipment has a charged battery and is functioning properly. Notify a supervisor whenever there is a malfunction or damage to the BWC. Only use agency-issued and approved BWC technologies and wear or use BWC equipment in a manner that is in compliance with and does not obstruct or defeat the purpose of BW policies. The body-worn camera shall be mounted on the officer in a position that provides the camera with an unobstructed view. On-duty requirements. Here we go. Let's look at this. While on duty, the BWC user shall activate the equipment and record as specified in this policy, return equipment to its dock or charging base prior to the end of each shift, properly tag, classify recordings for retention. I wonder if that was done. Probably not, because they don't believe in chain of custody. Document the existence of a BWC recording and written narratives. I'm pretty certain there probably isn't documentation, or if there is, there's going to be some kind of word salad of an explanation from Hank Brennan about why it doesn't exist anymore or why they can't get access to it. It is recommended that officers shall not access or view any recording of an incident involving the officer before the officer is required to make a statement about the incident. This is heating up. Docking and uploading requirements. At the end of the shift, each shall dyslexia. Each use shall place their BWC into a docking station. The docking station will charge the BWC's battery and transfer video data to the storage system. There's a system, guys. Place their BWC in a docking station no less than 1 time per week and upload all of their video data into the evidence management system unless otherwise directed by the section station unit commander. I wonder who that was. Who was the section station unit commander? Ensure the uploaded videos are properly tagged and classified in the evidence management system for retention, right? So are they archived? I mean, clearly somebody did. But why are they just coming to light now? Why are they just magically revealing themselves? Before going on any planned leave of 1 work week or more, place the BWC in a docking station and upload all of their video data into the evidence management system. Immediately notify the first line supervisor if the user becomes aware that this process is not occurring or becomes aware of any other malfunction of the system. So who's going to be the whistleblower on that one? Recording requirements. BWCs must be activated whenever a police officer interacts with a member of the public, including but not limited to when an officer arrives on an enforcement or investigative scene and during any contact that becomes adversarial after an initial contact in a situation that would not otherwise require a recording, unless such activation would pose a serious threat to the officer's safety, which I mean, just again, why did it take 4 state troopers to arrest Karen Reed? I mean, again, it seems a little overkill to me, but that's just my opinion. Maybe she's really like a Navy SEAL or something, or she's some kind of succubus. I don't know. And that's why they needed to bring all the ducks. I have no idea. In which it should be activated as soon as it is safe to do so, but I'm fairly certain their lives were not in danger. Their safety was not in danger. Following the activation of the camera, a police officer should give a verbal notice or otherwise make the individual aware that the interaction is being recorded. Karen, did they tell you were being recorded? Any recording that does not commence at the inception of the encounter and or is discontinued before the conclusion of the encounter shall be explained in writing by the officer. Where's the writing, Chip? I would love to see that. The recording must continue to the conclusion of the incident or within the guidelines or other exceptions outlined in those recommendations. Applications for a search warrant shall specifically request use of a BWC during the execution of the search warrant. Wow, there's just so much, man. Consent to record. In the event that an officer seeks entry into a home or other place where there exists a reasonable expectation of privacy based on a justification of consent only, the officer should give verbal notice or otherwise make the individuals aware that the interaction is being recorded. Sanctions and discipline. Failure to activate. In cases where an officer does not activate their body-worn camera when policy dictates they should, the officer shall indicate in their report that the body-worn camera was not activated and the reason why. Improper use. In cases where there is an improper use of the body-worn camera or an individual has tampered with a recording or improperly destroyed a recording, or they just get saved on some random iCloud account. I don't know. I didn't understand that. Should be based on the progressive disciple model and be in accordance with current collective bargaining agreements. Proportionality of sanctions. Sanctions or discipline should be directly proportionate to the seriousness of the violation. So I'm wondering, because again, Chip has that upcoming continuation of his hearing. I wonder if any of this is going to come into play. Now, I'm not saying that, because I don't know. I don't know if there was anything done nefariously with the body cam footage. He could have followed protocol and then somebody did something afterwards, but I mean, I'm not gonna hold my breath on that based on how video footage has just magically started to reveal itself after 3 years. So I don't know, but it doesn't seem, I don't know, it could be part of the conversation. Who knows? Termination. Officers terminated due to violations of the department's body-worn camera policy should be referred to the Commonwealth's Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission for further action. Provisions to identify recordings that raise special privacy or safety issues. To identify BWC recordings that may raise special privacy or safety issues, every department that deploys BWCs shall establish and implement a system that permits an event notation to be made when the recording captures the image of a victim of a criminal offense that may have privacy or safety concerns. Obviously, a child who's under 18 was made in a residential premises, home, apartment, college dorm, etc., school or youth facility, healthcare facility, medical office, a substance abuse or mental health treatment facility, or a place of worship. Captures a conversation with a person whose request to deactivate the BWC was declined. Captures a special operations event or execution of an arrest and or search warrant where confidential tactical information, verbal codes, hand signals, yada yada, direction to officers, techniques for interior movements in cleaning rooms during execution of a warrant, techniques for convincing persons to open doors during warrant execution may have been recorded. Capture the image of an undercover officer, captures a screen of a police computer monitor, right? So they blur that out. Release of a BWC recording that is the subject of an active criminal investigation or prosecution. Approval for release of a BWC recording that involves the subject of an active criminal investigation or prosecution shall comply with the Public Records Law. So where was it then? And it's interesting. It's interesting because LTL had made a FOIA request asking for any unreleased Karen Read body cam footage. He submitted this a few months ago, although his request for the footage was denied due to the ongoing investigation, as we just read in this little handy-dandy document over here. The staff legal counsel provided me with this list. So this is what they responded back with. And I'm just going to blow it up so we can see it a little bit better. Explains why there's probably more to the Proctor hearing than what we know so far. Based upon your narrowed down request for any arrest body cam video, dash cam, or intake videos, department identified the following responsive records that it was able to locate. So that June 9th, 2022 body-worn camera video recordings of Buchanan Justin Pye. Okay, so I guess this was one of the guys who was there. Trooper Justin Pye, right? Which is interesting because there's nothing here about Proctor. Proctor's name isn't anywhere on this. And he was on camera arresting her, cuffing her. We just saw it. Then there was a cruiser-mounted video recordings. February 1st, body-worn camera video recordings. Trooper Everton DeCastro, Lieutenant Joseph Keefe, Nicholas Zipri, Giordino, Sergeant John Taylor. I mean, again, why aren't we getting Proctor's video? And that's not the only video. That's not the only still. So that was the slowdown one that I just showed you from Boston Mike. So again, shout out to you and shout out to LTL. But there was a still Proctor. And I don't know who this other officer is. I don't know who this ball-headed, other egg-headed fella is, but there he is with his tight pants. I mean, first of all, like, who is dressing you? The Kids Gap? Like, geez. You don't need a belt if your pants are that tight, bro. Like, you don't. And here he is talking about Karen Reed and her body. It's like, you're nothing to look at, bro. You look like Bobby from King of the Hill. Like, shut your freaking face. So, this is from the same June 9th, 2022, that pickup. I'm assuming this is after they started I don't know. Or are they, like, searching her property? I don't know. I'm curious to see what else is revealed in this 3-parter. And he said, see how crazy she is. Like, talk about misconduct. And you know you're on camera. You know you're on candid camera, bro. So, unless he wasn't wearing his own camera, but I can't figure why wouldn't you be on that request list unless you had something shady that you were hiding. So, Joe Flipahead, give him a follow. I think he's also on YouTube too. I think he has a YouTube channel as well. So go subscribe to him. He put together this really good thread, calling out a few things, dates and times. So, January 29th, 2022, 10:55 a.m., Proctor calls Jen McCabe. Proctor's at CPD. 11:16 a.m. It's just a few hours after they found John, etc. 11:16 a.m., Jen and Matt McCabe, Brian Albert, leave 34 Fairview, which is, like, kind of also weird too, unless you're getting called like you're being brought in. Why would Brian Albert leave his own house? Like, that always felt so bizarro to me. If I'm a homeowner, right, and there's a crime that happened at my house, you would think, like, you'd hang around unless you were instructed to leave the scene, but you decide, okay, yeah, let me just head on out and go to Jen McCabe's house. Like, it's just very bizarre. And that's where the interviews took place, too. The witness interviews. So 11:30 a.m. So, like, not even 15 minutes later, Proctor and Yuri arrive at McCabe's to interview Jen, Matt, and Brian, which, again, is weird. Why would you go and talk to witnesses, one, together, and two, at Jen McCabe's house instead of Brian Albert's house or at the station, like, literally anywhere else? Why did Proctor tell Jen to leave 34 Fairview? Exactly. Why didn't Proctor want to go to the crime scene? So on February 3rd, 2022, that's when Proctor claims he was first at 34 Fairview. 4 days later, they find the first piece of the first few pieces of taillight. No taillight was found on any of these dates. At 1:34 p.m. on February 1st, Matt McCabe texts a group chat, troopers back out front, but in front of Asian House, looks like more has been dug up, in all caps. I don't get why people write in all caps. Is that like a generational thing? Because it's just bizarre. I don't understand. So what troopers were outside 34 Fairview on the 1st when McCabe sent that text. I mean, certainly a body cam, if it was turned on and used properly, it would have revealed that Chip Proctor was in fact there. Or any officer, any state trooper, right? Yuri and friends, whoever. Paul Gallagher from the Canton Police Department, and at that point, I believe they had already recused themselves, so why the heck are you doing anything? On February 1st, we went to 34 Fairview. Chip Proctor was present. Video below. So explain to me why Chip lied about being at 34 Fairview Road for the first time on February 3rd when he was actually there on the 1st. Not only was he there, but according to Matt McCabe, more has been dug up. Exactly, and he said troopers, right? Troopers back out front, meaning more than one. And again, this just goes to show, going back to the body cams, if they did in fact have body cams, where's the body cam footage of them being there? Where's the body cam? Where's the dash cam? I want to know. Did Proctor not want to admit being at 34 Fairview because they didn't find any taillight on that day despite looking? Or potentially putting it there.
Prior to that date of February 3rd, 2022, had you been to 34 Fairview Road at any point in time in the course of your investigation?
No.
So that morning of February 3rd, that's the first time that you went?
Correct.
As a lead investigator, why wouldn't you go to the scene of the crime? You would think that would be the first place you would go to. Figure out what the heck happened. What'd you see? You'd be right on it right there. But didn't they go to the hospital first? Him and Yuri? And they collected like all the wet clothes and stuff? And he didn't go to 34 Fairview at all? Allegedly? But apparently you were there on the 1st. Why weren't you there the day of? Was it too cold for you? Was it too snowy? You didn't have the heated gloves on?
On that day of February 1st, where, if anywhere, did you go with respect to the crash reconstruction?
We went to 34 Fairview.
In addition to yourself and the trooper from the crash reconstruction, who, if anyone else, went with?
Trooper Proctor was present.
So Trooper Proctor was present. And with the accident reconstructionist, so Trooper Paul was there as well too. So at least 3 of them were there. So nobody was wearing body cam. Nobody. Because again, it's like body cam footage in this case, in most cases, would help the prosecution prove their case. You would want all the footage, right? You'd want the body cam. You'd want the dash cam. You'd want all the audio. You'd want the ring camera footage. You would want everything. Every single piece of footage. So why are they going out of their way to not produce that footage? And does it even exist? And if it doesn't, why doesn't it exist?
Later on that day of February 1st, where, if anywhere, did you go with respect to the crash reconstruction?
We went to 34 Fairview.
In addition to yourself and the trooper from the crash reconstruction, who, if anyone else, went with?
Trooper Proctor was present.
And why did you go along with the troopers to that location?
Just so there was a Canton officer present. If any residents came out, I could communicate with them.
Any Canton residents, you could communicate with them, but at that point, you had recused yourself. If I'm not mistaken, Canton Police Department had recused themselves from speaking to witnesses. I mean, Canton residents that were around that area could have been potential witnesses. I would think, neighbors. I'm assuming woke up to the sound of sirens and Karen Reed screaming her head off in the middle of the early wee hours of the morning. So again, why are you there, bro?
And to your knowledge, had Trooper Proctor been to Fairview prior to that date?
I have no knowledge if he had been there or not.
What, if anything, did you direct either Trooper Proctor or the crash reconstructionist to once you were on scene?
I brought him to the area of where Mr. O'Keefe was found.
You showed them where Mr. O'Keefe was found?
Yes.
I'm very curious to see more body cam footage reveal itself, what it will reveal, if this has anything to do with, I'm assuming it does, what, if anything, that is discussed at the upcoming part 2 of Chip Proctor's trial board hearing. Trial board hearing is actually a couple of days before the first part of this 3-part docuseries is supposed to air. So, I mean, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting, all the timing of this. And, you know, of course, as we reported too, Karen Reed is taking things now, her appeal now, to the federal courts as well too. That was filed the other day. Could have been why Bev was shaking. We don't know. But with that being said, let me know what you think about all of this. Do you think that there's more body cam footage to be found? So if you have those questions too, I would love to hear about it in the comment section below. With that being said, if you enjoyed today's content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you do not miss the next video from me. I know I said I was going to go through Sandra Birchmore, but it was a little short on time today. I need to put together a quick one, but I am working on that, so that'll be tomorrow, on tomorrow's docket. And make sure you hit that like button, because that tells the that tells the YouTube algorithm that this is newsworthy news, and it is. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next